Well, Will, with that said, you and I talked before the MLS Cup final got started last year in RFK Stadium, and we're rolling video of that. You're very disappointed in the way the season ended for you guys. Saying that, should we expect any changes if basically you guys don't reach the final or win the MLS Cup final this year?
No, you know, in Major League Soccer, as you know, and you've debated this on your program many a times about the salary cap. In a salary cap environment, you know, you can't expect to have a team to win just because they're the best, because there's so much element of luck involved. If you recall, you know, last year we had the most number of points in a single table league, like you find in most of the world. We would have been the league champions. We had the most number of points, and we would have been the league champions. But in the U.S., we have a playoff system. And in a playoff system, anything can happen. And in a salary cap environment, you're limited in the ability for you to be able to carry depth. I mean, if you look at some of the European clubs, you know, they have 40, sometimes they have like 60 on their senior roster. You know, we can only carry 18 plus another 10. So, you know, we're limited in our ability to be able to have depth because of the salary cap and because of the numbers. And so much of the element of luck comes into play during the playoffs. And if you recall, you know, we lost to Chicago. And in that game, you know, our two strikers, Jaime Moreno and Luciano Emilio, were both injured. And, you know, what you can expect to happen over the course of the season is for your team to kind of be in the top 4 or 5. I expect that to happen with DC United year after year after year. And I would be very, very disappointed if we missed the playoffs. But, you know, there's so much element of luck in our league, in particular because of the salary cap and the amount of players that you can keep on your roster.
Well, Will, we only have a couple of minutes left. Let's see if we can touch on a couple more subjects.
Sure.
First of all, a lot of fans around the league are worried about what's going on with DC United and a home stadium. RFK, in my mind, if you could just get air conditioning in there, the best soccer stadium in America. When that joint is rocking, there's nothing like it. But you need your own home, and Poplar Point looked to be the case, but now we're talking about going to court again. If you could give me the nickel answer, what's going to happen?
Well, you know, as you probably know, we're negotiating both with the District of Columbia as well as the state of Maryland. We started our team in D.C. We want to stay in D.C. We're very involved in our community in D.C., but we have been approached by the state of Maryland, and they're very, very interested in having us come over to Maryland. The Stadium Authority in Maryland has commissioned an economic feasibility study, and I believe that study is going to show a tremendous economic impact, a positive economic impact for the state. And that's going to drive the amount of government subsidy and bonding capacity to help us build a stadium. So I can't tell you where we're going to be. I can't tell you when we're going to have a new stadium, but I can promise we will be in our new home soon.
Well, Will, one other thing that we talked about just a few moments ago was a certain bet that you had with Chivas and Chivas USA owner Jorge Vergara, Sudamericana last year, DC taking on Chivas, and we heard that it was going to be to shave the head of the loser. Now, we understand talking with you, it wasn't exactly a close shave, but you're going to see this tomorrow when you have a chance to watch the program. But let's take a look at what Will Chang looks like now. And admittedly, we took a few liberties here, but this is what it would look like if you would have seen Will Chang.
Will.
Handsome man, handsome man.
Nothing to do with that.
Well,
now, I understand you have a chance for a rematch, though.
Well, you know, if you give me a minute, I'll tell you how that bet occurred. If you recall, in the CONCACAF semifinals, we lost to Chivas, and it was a very unfortunate event. It was pouring. Our goalkeeper Troy had a ball slip out of his hands, and that was the decisive winning goal for Chivas Guadalajara. The next morning, I had breakfast with with Jorge, and you know, Kevin Payne was with me, and I said, Jorge, you were very lucky. It rained, it poured, the ball was slippy, the gloves were soaking wet, and Troy had the ball slipped and it went into the goal. And I said, I want a rematch. And when we have a rematch, we're going to bet. And he kind of laughed and said, well, how much do you want to bet? And I said, you know, Jorge, $1 million to you, it doesn't hurt. I want something that really hurts. And I reached over and the table, and I pulled his hair and said, this is what I want. And I said, are you a man enough to take on that bet? And he put his hand, I put my hand out, and he put it on my hand. And I said, we got a deal. So when we met again at Copa Sudamericana, we had the bet. And as you know, we actually tied in the number of goals, but they went through on the away goals, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was 2-2 aggregate, but they had one away goal and we didn't. So they went through, and you know, I lived up to my bet, and so I went into his box, and he had his barber there, and he had the Univision camera there, and I was in national television getting my hair cut.
But again, in 2 weeks' time, I guess you get a chance for revenge, though.
Right, and my parting words to Jorge was, Jorge, I want a rematch, and he says, you got a deal. So I'm trying to get confirmation that he's going to be in RFK in about a couple of weeks for the Superliga, and if he is, I'm going to have my barber ready. And we have a team barber. Dan Strafford is our team barber, and he gives the haircuts to all our guys. And I asked Dan to kind of stand by to be ready to take Jorge's hair off. That would be fun. Well,
anyway, Will, we wish you the best of luck the rest of the season, and a true owner that we would love to have more of in Major League Soccer, patience through the difficult times, and now you're getting a chance to reap a few of the rewards.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you again for having me on your program.
No problem. Hopefully you get a chance to do it again sometime. Will Chang, the managing partner and co-owner of DC United.